All right, world, so check this out. 3 reasons why a lot of music sounds awful these days. Number 1, rough draft versus finisher mentality. Now, a lot of people in the industry, when they're making a song these days, they don't know where this song is going to go. Is it going to go on a mixtape? Is it going to go on an album? Is it going to go on an EP? Is it going to go for a sponsorship? Is it going to be on some kind of joint EP project that a lot of MCs are doing, a lot of rappers are doing now? We don't even know where this is going. So we can just kind of fiddle around with it, make it sound as it needs to be for this session, and just see where it goes. There's not a finisher mentality that you would have in music back in the day. Remember, older music had a lot of live session musicians. You got horn players, you got violin players, you might have a freaking oboe going on. So you're investing, the labels invested all this money into these live session musicians, which means there's so much more skin in the game, and whatever is recorded has got to go on the record, right? So you've got to deal with, we as a label, we've already paid this much money for this entire orchestral breakdown, or even if we're talking about Motown, we've got backup singers, we've got a whole harmony section going on. So we need to use what we recorded because we put money into it, right? Now, these days, it's so easy to just add in, take out, even to the very second before the album is released, which is kind of another related point. Mastering, pressing up records, getting a rollout 2-3 months in advance for the album, that used to be the main way that we would do this, where we would literally have to have the project done 3-4 months in advance because we need to press it up, we need to ship it, all these different things, where now you can just really adjust the album or adjust the project 4 days before it comes out. Often they want to do that because they don't want to get it leaked or anything and lose money that way. So along with finisher mentality of just the money we've put in, there's also an in advance schedule that's much longer. So we need to have a finished product by X date. That mentality has just kind of gone out of the window, for better or worse, right? Now, similarly, rough draft mentality comes into you as an artist. Often because it's so easy to just release song after song, put it on YouTube, put it on SoundCloud. If we don't like that version or doesn't get enough plays, all right, I'll just do another version. You as an artist, you're taking it out because every single time you're in the studio or you're at your home recording setup or whatever, if you know, well, if this doesn't go that well, I can just take it off SoundCloud or I can just take it off YouTube. That's kind of feeding into that rough draft mentality, right? So this is one of the reasons why music seems a little bit more disposable outside of some of the obvious reasons you've heard of before. Number 2, lifestyle branding. All right, for a lot of artists, especially in the rap game, their new album or their new project is just a branding tool, right? So they're not even worried about sales as much. Because they have a new album out, they can get an alcohol deal. They can get a clothing deal. They can go on talk radio and interviews and mock reality and all the different interview systems that they have, Complex News, like all of those different things just to get their brand out there so that they can parlay that into other pieces of like sources of income, essentially, right? So a lot of artists are not even treating their albums and their music anymore like their mainstay. Their main thing that they're doing. I mean, think of, if I give you a list of artists, which I won't because I don't want to trash nobody on this joint, but think of a lot of your favorite artists that used to be really tight in the 90s, thousands, etc. Probably one of the things you've noticed is that they've expanded their brand to alcohol sales, clothing. Some of these artists are bigger on Instagram for just talking into the camera and making jokes than they are about their actual music. And the only reason you even know they have music is because you follow their Instagram and they make you laugh. And then every once in a while, they're like, yo, new song out, blah, blah, blah. So music is starting to be treated as just like your bottle of alcohol that you're selling, and where you just plug it and move on. Plug it, move on, because I'm trying to get my whole personal branding thing going, and music is not so important to me, all right? And third is lack of competitive spirit. Back in the day, you know, when you had the Beatles versus the Stones, to use a rock example, obviously the Biggie and Pac stuff, R.I.P. Even like Michael versus Prince, and I don't know if y'all saw the recent Quincy Jones interview where apparently Michael really was like, yo, I'm trying to punish him, I'm trying to knock it down. I want to be the greatest, right? So you had artists that were going toe-to-toe for supremacy. These days, not as much, even though we do get the occasional beef, and that's fun for us as sort of people just watching, casual viewers. Often a lot of the artists are not taking direct head-on-head 50-verse Kanye-esque moments. They're not literally dissing them. They're not like these overt diss songs. Obviously, we had like the Drake and Meek Mill, but first of all, that was 3 years ago now. Secondly, often if you're talking about a Drake, Kendrick versus Big Sean, like, where is the literal disses? Where is the actual head-to-head? No disrespect to those guys because they're both great, but you see what I mean. There's not a competitive spirit on who is making the best music. I want to make the best music, and I want to make sure that people know I'm better than you. Right? When the Beatles when the Beach Boys heard Sgt. Pepper's, they were distraught. Like, they felt bad because they felt like, oh, they already got to where I needed to go and stuff like that, right? So there's not a competitive spirit in the industry the way there used to be. I don't necessarily know if that's a bad thing, because on the other side, we've gotten a lot of great collaboration albums with artists. Like, whether or not you're really into this type of music, it's really cool to see somebody like a Travis Scott and a Honcho Quavo from the Migos do a collaboration project, right? Like, it's great to see Offset and 21 Savage doing projects, like stuff like that. Like, I think that's really dope. So I think that may be kind of one of the advantages of not having a competitive spirit. But overall, part of the reason the music isn't getting made at a high level and nobody's like arguing over a classic album, the Blueprint versus the Stillmatic moments, is because there's not that competitive spirit. All right, so I'm actually going to do another one of these because I don't want to make these videos so crazy long, but I'm going to do another one, 3 more reasons that will get a little bit more in depth as well. But in order to see that, and also if you like this content, be sure to join our notification gang. That is not the Snapchat symbol, although it definitely looks like it. Good job, Drew. Artist Drew, how to art Drew. Join our notification gang as I run into the whiteboard. That's where you'll get notified. We drop videos every day at 4 p.m. East Coast time. We talk about lessons. You already know. Just join it. You'll love it. If you're subscribed already, hit that bell, and I'll see you tomorrow at 4. Chill.